Hello everybody, it's Crystal. So today I have a stitch tutorial for you. Now this is the open scallop stitch. It's an extremely easy stitch and it's just a 1-row repeat, and it does look the same on both sides. You could use this stitch for anything that you'd like. Like I said, it's extremely easy. 1-row repeat, looking the same on both sides. Really? Who could ask for anything more? Now you will need to know how to do the basic stitches such as single crochet and double crochet, and I will teach you how to do the rest. All right, you got this. Think of all the pretties you can make with this. The open scallop stitch. You guys want to get started? All right, let's do this. So for this particular stitch, now remember this is a stitch tutorial. I'm showing you how to make the stitch. You can make whatever you want with it. But for this particular tutorial, I did use a Red Heart Soft, which is a medium weight number 4 acrylic in the color red. And I will be using a size I, which is a 5.5mm crochet hook. Now, whatever you're making, whether it be a blanket, scarf, top, whatever you choose to make with the stitch, you could use whatever yarn and hook that you determine, or whatever you see fit. So the open scallop is done. It can be done on a base row of single crochet, which is what I'm going to do. Otherwise, it kind of makes your beginning chain like really gappy. But if you do not want to do it on a base row of single crochet, you do not have to. So like I said, I'm going to put mine on a base row of single crochet. If you want to follow along with me, the multiple is 6 plus 2, and that's putting it on a base row or a foundation row of single crochet. If you don't want that foundation row and you rather just start working the pattern directly into the chain, then it'd be a multiple of 6 plus 1. All right, but I'm going to do a multiple of 6 plus 2. So what that means is you chain in sixes, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, until you get to your desired size, like whatever you're making. You get it to the size that you want it to be, and then you add 2 more to your chain, and that would be a multiple of 6 plus 2. And remember, I'm working that on a foundation row or a base row of single crochet. All right, so I got my multiple of 6 plus 2, and now I'm going to start my foundation row or my base row. So we're not going to count this as row 1, okay? We are going to do a single crochet in the second stitch from our hook. We don't count the one that's on our hook. So 1, 2, we put a single crochet into that, and then we're just going to work across, and we're going to put 1 single crochet into every single stitch until we get to the end of the row. Remember, this is our foundation or base row of single crochet. I think it makes for a sturdier base chain, but you know, that's completely up to you. So I'm going to continue putting 1 single crochet in every stitch until I get to the end of my base row or foundation row. See you in a second. All right, so I've made it to the end of my foundation row of single crochet. So remember, we don't count this as row 1. So we'll go ahead and start row 1 of the open scallop stitch. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work. That chain 1 does not count as a stitch. Now we're going to work a double crochet 2 together, but we're going to be working it over 3 stitches because we're going to skip the 1 in between the 2. I'm going to show you how that's done. So we're going to yarn over, and we're going to go into our very first stitch, and we are going to draw up a loop like that. And then we're going to yarn over and go through the first 2 loops on our hook. And then we're going to yarn over again. We're going to skip 1 stitch and go into the next. Draw up a loop. Yarn over and go through the first 2 loops. And then we're going to yarn over, and yarn over and go through the remaining 3 loops on our hook. So that was a double crochet 2 together, but it was worked over 3 stitches because we skipped the 1 in the middle. Now we're going to start the repeat of row 1. So into the very next stitch, we're going to work a shell. So we're going to work 2 double crochets into the next stitch. So there's 1 and 2. Then we're going to chain 1, and we're going to go back into the same stitch and work 2 more double crochet. So the shell for this particular pattern is 2 doubles, chain 1, and 2 doubles all into the same stitch. Now we're going to work our double crochet 2 together, but this time we're going to leave 3 empties in the middle. All right. So we're going to yarn over, and we're going to go into the very next stitch and draw up a loop, and we're going to yarn over and go through the first 2 loops on our hook. Now we're going to yarn over, and we're going to skip 3. 1, 2, 3, and we're going to go into the next and draw up a loop. We're going to yarn over and go through the first 2, and you'll have 3 loops that remain. We're going to yarn over and go through the remaining 3. So that was a double crochet 2 together, but we worked it over 5 stitches because we left 3 of them empty in the middle. And that's the repeat. So in the very next stitch, we'll work a shell again. So we're going to work 2 doubles. There's 1, 2, chain 1, go back into the same stitch and work 2 more doubles. 1, and there's 2. All right, and then we're going to work our double crochet 2 together, leaving 3 empty stitches in the middle. So we're going to yarn over and go into the next stitch and draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 loops. And we're going to skip 3 stitches, skip, 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 and then the next one, we're going to yarn over, go into it, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 loops, and you'll have 3 loops that remain, yarn over and go through the remaining 3 loops, just like that. So we're going to continue this until we get to the last 4 stitches of our row. So again, our next stitch, we will put a shell. So 2 doubles, chain 1, and 2 doubles. And then we will work our double crochet 2 together, but we're going to leave 3 of them empty in the middle. So yarn over and go directly into the next stitch, draw up a loop, and yarn over and go through the first 2 loops on our hook. Skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and the next one, yarn over, go into it, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 loops, 3 loops remain, yarn over and go through the remaining 3. Just like that. So I'll see you when we have 4 stitches left. All right, I'm coming to the end of row 1, and I did a double crochet 2 together with 3 empties in the middle, and I have 4 stitches that remain. So I'm going to go ahead and shell into the next one. So 2 doubles, chain 1, and 2 doubles. Now we're going to go ahead and end row 1 by working a double crochet 2 together, but leaving 1 in the center empty. So we're going to yarn over and go into the next stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 loops, and then we're going to skip 1 and yarn over and go into the last stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2, and then the remaining 3. So that ends row 1. Now row 2 is the repeat row. We are just going to do row 2 and keep repeating row 2 until we get to our desired size. So we will chain 1 and turn our work. That chain 1 does not count as a stitch. All right, so we're going to be doing a double crochet 2 together over the first stitch, and we'll skip 1 and over the next stitch. So we're going to go ahead and start. We're going to yarn over and go into the first stitch, draw up a loop, and yarn over and go through the first 2 loops on our hook. Now we're going to yarn over and skip 1 stitch and go into the next one, which should be right next to the chain 1 space of the previous shell, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through 2, and then yarn over and go through the remaining 3. All right, and we're going to start the repeat of row 2. In this chain 1 space here, we're going to put a shell. So we're going to work 2 doubles. There's 1, 2, chain 1, and 2 doubles. So it's a shell in the chain 1 space of the previous shell. Now we're going to work our double crochet 2 together, but we're going to leave 3 of them empty in the beginning, or 3 of them empty in the middle. So we're actually working over the first double crochet after this chain space and the first double crochet before this chain space. All right, so we're going to yarn over and go into the very next stitch and draw up a loop and yarn over and go through the first 2 loops, and then we're going to skip 3, 1, 2, 3, and the next one should be the one right next to the chain 1 space. We're going to yarn over and go into that one and draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2, and yarn over and go through the remaining 3. And that's it. That's what we're going to repeat. So we're going to go into the chain 1 space of the next shell, and we're going to work a shell in it. So 2 doubles, chain 1, and 2 doubles. Like that. Now again, we're going to work our double crochet 2 together, but we're going to leave 3 of them empty in the middle. So we're going to yarn over, go directly into the next stitch, draw up a loop, and yarn over and go through the first 2. Skip 3, 1, 2, 3. And we're going to go into the one right before the chain 1 space, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2, and yarn over and go through the remaining 3. Just like that. Repeat it again. We will shell into the next chain 1 space. So 2 doubles, chain 1, 2 doubles. Just like that. And again, double crochet 2 together, leaving 3 of them empty in the middle. So yarn over, go into the next stitch, draw up a loop, and yarn over and go through the first 2, skip your 3 stitches, and yarn over and go into the next one, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 and the remaining 3. So that's it. We're going to keep repeating this, and I'll meet back up with you when we get when we shell into our last shell at the end of the row, and I'll show you how to end row 2. All right, I'm coming to the end of row 2. I just shelled in that chain 1 space. So now we're going to yarn over and go into the very next stitch, draw up a loop, and yarn over and go through the first 2. Then we are going to skip 1 stitch and into the last stitch, we're going to draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2, and then the remaining 3. And that is how you finish off row 2, and that is the repeat row. So for row 3, we're just going to repeat what we did on row 2. Again, we're just going to chain 1 and turn, and we're going to yarn over and go into the first stitch, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 loops like that. We're going to skip 1 and yarn over and go into the next stitch and draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2, and then we yarn over and go through the remaining 3. That's how we start the row. And then we put a shell in the chain 1 space of the next shell. 2 doubles, chain 1, 2 doubles. That. And then we're going to yarn over and go into the next stitch and draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 loops, and we're going to skip our 3, skip, 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 and in the next one we're going to yarn over, draw up a loop, yarn over and go through the first 2 and the remaining 3, and then again we're going to shell into the chain 1 space of the next shell. So that's it. for row 3, I'm just repeating row 2, and that's all it is. We're just going to keep repeating row 2 till we get the project as big as we want it to be. So after a few repeats, it starts to look like this. Isn't that pretty? So I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. I hope that you were able to follow along okay. Now, if you make something out of this, I'd really love to see it. You can post a picture on my Bagoday Crochet Facebook page. There'll be a link to that below in the description box. Don't forget to hit that like button if you enjoyed, and leave a comment below. That always helps me out to feed the algorithm. And also, if you enjoyed, you could hit that subscribe button. I have many tutorials, anything that you could ever want to make, and multiples of them. So I will see you guys on my next video, whatever that might be. Take care. Bye, guys.